Hey, my name's Nico. I just got my move bumper and I'm ready to install it. This one is a 2016 Ram 2500 Powerwagon. So it has the winch from the factory, and I'm not sure how that's going to play out exactly with how this mounts and everything else, but um, we'll figure that out as we go. I want to figure out a way to incorporate these factory fog lights into my new move bumper. I had them cut out the holes for the lights for those 2-inch cubes that they sell. But I really like the way that these factory fog lights illuminate the sides of the road, and they're not too blinding to other drivers. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to incorporate them into my build. So I guess more on that later. But for right now, I'm just going to take some measurements on the lights and kind of see where they sit and what angle, so that I can get them close to that later when I go to put it all back together. Okay, so I figured out those factory fog lights with the 35s on the truck sit about 29 inches off the ground. I'll try to match that later. And they also sit about 50 degrees off of the plane that runs even with the side of the truck. So I should be able to get that. I've got a few more bolts to undo, and hopefully this thing will pop right off of there. So these little plastic clips here are the ones that held me up because I didn't take the grill out. So if you opt to not take the grill out, remember those are there. So now I gotta get these plates off, and in order to do that, I'm gonna have to drop the winch. So, because it's a power wagon, and the winch isn't much fun to deal with right now, popped out, there's 2 bolts, one on each side, top and bottom here, and you can see where that used to go through. Well, they got these wonderful little keepers on the inside. Well, the factory winch cradle prevents that bolt from coming out even a little bit. So I have to pull these 2 and pull the whole winch out, which should be loads of fun. All right, so finally got the winch out. That was not the most fun thing I've ever done. For some reason, Dodge decided to put the bolts from the inside of the frame out, not the other way around. So yeah, there was just a whole lot of clearance issues and all kinds of things. It wasn't a lot of fun, but now I'm good. I got the winch out, I set it on the ground, and I got all my move stuff laid out. And there's a centerpiece, the wings, end caps, clevis mounts, some filler pieces, I'm not sure where those go yet, the light brackets, and that is what it looks like with the winch out. Alrighty, so I got these brackets thrown up and bolted them in. I just dropped them all the way to their lowest setting. I figure once I get the bumper mounted on here, then I can lift them up to get my gap and my height correct. I just want to make sure they're both level and that they're both equal distance from the frame. So I'm going to take a few measurements there. I got them both level right now, but we'll take some measurements and make sure that they're square. Got 10 3/4 there. And 10 3/4 there. We are perfect. So I'm just going to snug those bolts down a little bit. Make sure nothing moves on us. That one's still level. And that one's level. Cool. Checking this way just to make sure. Some snow falling outside. That one looks good. That one looks good. I think we're ready to start putting stuff together. Alrighty guys, so after a lot of debating with myself and moaning and groaning back and forth, I think I have figured out what I'm going to do. So I got the center section up here. I used a jack underneath just to support the weight. There's really not much on it. And then I hooked a ratchet strap from here back to the cross member on the radiator, to the core support there. So that kind of held the top end in. I also finished out these lines here. I just drew them out to help me get a center. And then I just eyeballed that. Drew this line out and then marked it on this one. So, yeah, and I also got a center line. You can't see it there. There's a piece of Sharpie right there that went down the center of the grill just to make sure it all looks good. And the way that I've got it sitting right now, I've actually got to push that guy up in order to tack it, but I didn't want a whole lot of weight from the jack, like stressing everything and bending stuff. So I'm just going to hold it up by hand, tack each one of the sides, and then go through and measure again. So I will let you know when that's done. Thanks. So this is where I'm at now. I got that center section tacked up, and then I went to go put the wings on, and they weren't quite fitting like I thought they should. So both of them on each side, it's this guy down here, I just ground a little bit of that out so that the point of the next wing would fit in there. And then on this guy, I haven't done it yet, but I took just a little bit of an angle off of that. Just kind of beveled it this way. So you can see here, I just took it and ground it at that angle to give this an edge that way. I don't know. It seems like maybe if I would have mounted these mounts a 1/4 inch inward, that I wouldn't have had that issue. But that's not where my frame sits. So maybe that's just a me issue. Maybe not. I'm not really sure. But if you look across this side, it looks, that wing over there looks like it's pretty darn level with where I need it to be. So I think it's going to line up pretty good. I haven't really done a height on this one. I may have to bust one of these tacks loose to get that exactly where I want it. It looks like it kind of drops off a little bit on this side, but I got to get some measurements and figure that out. But I can bust this tack or this tack loose to articulate that one way or the other. So I think I'm going to get to where I'm at on here on the other side and make sure all my measurements are looking good. But so far, that bumper looks pretty damn sweet. So no complaints. Like I said, a little bit of extra grinding, but can't be perfect. So keep you updated. Alrighty, so I got both sides tacked on now, both of the first wings, and yeah, I'm just gonna check fitment real quick, make sure that the gap between the grill and the bumper and the body and the bumper over there are the same, and I'll go ahead and tack on wing number 2, which is the tailpiece on that side, and Then I'll finish off with the filler plate for the center up there. So just got these guys on. I had to do a little bit of grinding. I beveled the inside of this on both sides because this wouldn't go deep enough into this hole for me. So this piece wouldn't go deep enough into this like crevice. So it wasn't quite lining up. You can see I still got a little bit of a gap, but no more than what their factory gaps are in their cuts. So pretty straightforward. I think it looks pretty good. Then I use these magnets to get nice and flush across the top. So those are looking good. I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna finish this out. It's got like this little tab in here. I guess it gives it some structural support because right now this is a little wobbly, I guess, more so on the bottom side. You probably can't see with me jerking the phone all over the place. So I may end up doing, I'm gonna get rid of these guys, and I'll probably end up doing a brace off of here out to this wing. That way, if that, if I smoke a deer or something, that's a little less likely to pop this side in. So, not sure exactly what I'm gonna do for the lights yet. I haven't really considered that. I just want to get the main pieces stuck together. So now that they are good to go, I'll shut off my welder. I can pull it off the truck and start actually running some beads, which will be pretty sweet. So this side I did the exact same thing, just duplicated it. I'm not sure, I haven't checked to see how the fitment is this way, but you can kind of see, I guess my tires are turned a little bit. That's pretty much level and square. So I'll come over to this side. Alrighty, so I finished welding it all up and I stuck it back on the truck, and then I just kind of, those are the factory fog lights. I just stuck them in there. I got my welding gloves holding them up, but I think they look pretty good. I didn't level or square off the bumper yet. I just got it bolted in and got it kind of close. I didn't have anybody to help me, so you can see the winch is still hanging out the bottom. But yeah, I think those factory lights will look pretty good. I might have to do a little bit to make them look a little prettier, but at least the cutouts, I think maybe just finish off a little bit on that edge and kind of round that corner out a little bit, and I think she should be looking pretty good. So I may end up doing a hoop. I didn't order one, but I may end up doing like a bull bar or something on the front. I haven't decided yet. As of right now, I think the truck sits tall enough that if I hit a deer, it's probably not coming over the top. And elk definitely would though, so I gotta keep that in mind. But yeah, I was kind of moaning and groaning about the fitment earlier, but really it was just a couple quick grinds and everything was where I wanted it. I didn't hear anything about this, but yeah, there's definitely going to be some plastic trimming going on later. And then I think I may also do a little piece right here, just from that corner to that corner up to here, and just try to kind of make that look a little better, transition a little bit. It may also help with stability of the wing down here. Now that it's all welded up, it seems pretty stout. This side doesn't really move at all, so it must have just been my tacks that were still a little loose, but I am pretty darn happy with it. So here's their fog light mount, which I'm not going to end up using. So if you break this off, you got a good piece of steel you can keep for later. And then Went ahead and traced out a piece on some cardboard earlier. And it just so happens that this angle right here, where I broke it off, is what I need. So I traced out another piece earlier, but I figured out this would work better. So I'm going to cut right on that dotted line, and then just nip off the end of it a little bit. And then this little guy fits real nicely in this little gap down here to make that a little less aggressive of an angle at the bottom when it's finished off. So that's the only style thing I didn't like about the move bumper. So I'm gonna get the other one cut out and weld those on. Alrighty, so the bumper is pretty much complete. I still have to cut the hole for the winch. I just haven't decided which fair lead I'm going to go with yet, so I don't know what size to cut that. There is, just so you guys can see, on the Powerwagon, it's got its own cradle for the winch with the fair lead on it, so the bumper sticks out about here. So I'm going to have to put another fair lead so that I'm not rubbing the cable on the bumper. I'm also going to have to extend this handle for the engage disengage. I think I'm just going to chop it there and just build an extension that comes through the bumper. So yeah, that's pretty much it as far as that goes. I did just complete the fog lights. So that is my factory fog light. You can see all the grinding on the front of that, or buffing. But I think they look pretty darn good. There's quite a lot going on back here to get these fog lights to mount. They have a very strange mounting system. These are just some brackets that I made. It's a 5/8 hole, and then those little tabs pop in. I can do that without dropping it. Those little plastic tabs just pop in. So I made these brackets. I just welded some nuts to the back, and I did 2 up here just so that I could hold this in place while I was working on it. This was really tough to do by myself. And then each one of the other tabs have just 1 bolt, and just kind of stuck those on there. But to get an idea of how I retrofitted the fog light opening, I cut 1 piece to fit there, and then I mounted the headlight, got everything square where I wanted it, and then I cut this other piece that goes there. And I haven't welded the back sides yet so that you guys could see kind of what that opening looks like. It would be really cool if Move would ever do something like this to incorporate those factory fog lights, because I don't know, I kind of like them. I don't really love the LED look, and I think they're fairly useful. The bull bar, I pre-drilled through this side of the square tube here, and I pre-drilled the bottom, and then I just ran a piece of baling wire in there. The baling wire goes all the way up and in, and somewhere about right there it ends. So the plan eventually, and this is not going to be a right away thing, is to recess a 1-inch LED strip right there, just for off-road only. And I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with that, but it'll have some sort of aftermarket lights on it eventually. So I figured I'd drill that so that I didn't have to spend hours chasing wires and trying to figure out how to get those in there. So I'm gonna try to get this sucker. Well, I guess I'll fill in these welds right here on the back real quick, and then I'll get this sucker on the truck with the winch on it here next. And then I got paint after I get the fair lead. So I gotta wait for the fair lead so I can cut that hole, and then I'm just gonna bed line it. So yeah, stay tuned.